Good morning, everybody. Yet again, I thought I'd press the start button. I just told Maurizio probably the funniest joke in the world, but obviously it wasn't captured because we didn't. Well, I'll tell you what the joke was. It was a BEC long. No, 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 no. How's everybody doing today?
That's
Me
a
and
good joke.
Maurizio have just
Yeah.
been deciding on, what are the most painless ways to commit suicide? Like, I mean, let's just be done with it. This year's over. It's finished. Everybody
Not
go home.
not if you're short. Not if you short the fucking market, right? Like that's kind of the thing, right? Like all the shorts are happy as hell right now, man. Like yeah, like
Oh,
FinRep, right?
balls deep. Lovely,
I know.
lovely profit.
So
Yeah.
so it's one of those things, right? So it depends on where you are in the market. So
Although
and
if
we
you're running a FinRev DGen account, you still have to figure out mid-greed when you're gonna stop. Because those degen accounts, they will turn against you. That's the thing, especially if you've got them at 100%. So they
mm-hmm,
don't, they're not catch free, risk free. Normal
mm-hmm,
FinRev, on the other hand, if you know what I mean,
mm-hmm,
which
mm-hmm.
hopes to catch one or two major trends every decade, that's loving it.
Yeah, and Todd, yeah, I think you do a lot of trading, mate. So that it's perfect for it. You know what I mean? Like small time frames, things like that, scalping. This is perfect, man. Liquidations. I've been talking about it. Like if you run it like and if you actually specifically trade the New Year session, oh man, plenty of opportunities, but nothing long term. You know what I mean? Like nothing long term. So great to hear that you having a great result, man. Great result. Yeah.
Although
Um.
that's what I want to find, Maurizio. I want to find some shorts that I can use exceptionally small leverage on, but hold for a
I,
sustained period
you
of
know
time.
what? Let's go through it because obviously I don't know. I'm worked the other way. I work like in terms of scalping. If you think about it, you do a high leverage
Hmm.
with a short term
Hmm.
perspective, and then you aim to those wicks down. You know what I mean? Like we'll go
Hmm.
through some scalping
Nice.
setups.
Well,
You know what
I'm
I
going to
mean?
be quiet and you go through it.
Uh,
Let's have a vote, though. Let's have a vote in the chat, right? Vote if you want lots of trades, high leverage, like a video game stuff, or vote if you want what I said. I wonder if we could find something very low leverage that we sit and short for a long period of time. With that, I'll hand
yeah.
over to Maurizio. Let's see what the chat says.
I think because I think that's where we're heading right now, man. Let me just share my screen. Give me 1 second. Let me just put everything on Bitcoin here. Let's do the overall structural breaking Bitcoin thingy, and then after that we're gonna explore different type of setups that you can actually do. Pros and cons of both, and my view on those two things that you mentioned, Ian. Think it's
Mhm.
worth to explore. So, do you guys see my screen now?
We do, Maurizio.
All right, sweet. Okay, so how do, same question as always. How do you guys feel about crypto right now?
Well, that's a funny question, isn't it? Because like I feel
Yes,
quite good because I'm long and things are kind of going my way. But that's an
yes,
emotional reaction, to be honest. So
yes.
yeah.
I know, Todd, man. Me too, to be honest, right? Obviously, but it gets hard when you actually try to manage different portfolios and things like that. But I know the feeling because this is the time to be a scalping, and yeah, and obviously I cannot share a lot of the scalping trades here, otherwise people is gonna they're gonna go nuts, man. And the whole purpose of 100x is actually not you know, get a position, but honestly, I think we need to change the mindset if you guys wanna sort of keep going. Otherwise, it's getting really hard to get position at these levels. And I'm gonna go why. So, James, I'm in Australia.
Oh, it's Super Bowl day, so there's probably going to be
Oh,
A
is
bunch
it?
of
Okay.
Americans drinking Bud Light and shouting at the TV that aren't on the call today. Who is it? It's
Yeah.
Patriots. Patriots. I can't remember.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't follow. I used to live in Boston a while back, so I know how big it is. Yeah.
Boston. I have a,
Yes.
what is it? A coffee. Give me a coffee.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. Let's jump back to it, man.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So let's start with the big picture. But you guys didn't answer. How do you guys feel about crypto? Right? Give me your thoughts. You're loving it. You're fucking hating it. You over it. Where are you now with everything? Not great. Great for shorts. Yeah. Yeah, Simon. I know. City on the fence. Many out spot holds. I know. Yeah, okay, all over the place. All right, so essentially, right, let's start structurally, right? So let's talk about Bitcoin because it's the model of pretty much everything, right? And let's go and let's have a look at the monthly. So on the monthly, obviously we are at the beginning of the month. We are 9 days in on of Feb. So this candle is sort of irrelevant yet, right? So obviously I just keep a track of it because I want to see what the levels are from the monthly perspective. And we are at an interesting level, right? You can actually see from March all the way up to October, and then we had that breakout on November, okay, last year. No, sorry, 2024. Now that's the monthly, right? So from the monthly perspective, this level here, which is our top, this is the range, right? All the range that happened on from technically 2024, March 2024, all the way to all the year, right? So if you think about this, right, this is kind of the range. Either if we bottom here or we're going to break this range down. As simple as that, right? Now, I'm going to start bringing small time frames now that I know what's my monthly sort of deal. And let me just make this a little bit more clear from that perspective. So if I make this, let's make it thicker and let's make it probably white. And so you know that's the monthly. And there are two levels here from the monthly perspective as well. So let me just show you where I'm at. Okay. All right. Make it very thick because that's a very, very important level. Okay. Very, very important levels. These two, this range. Can you see this range here? This is the low that actually was taken out on August. And then that was the major capitulation for the new sort of uptrend, give it a take, right? So these levels here are very, very important, significant from the monthly perspective. Okay. So I want to be looking at the markets when we hit these levels here, if we do, or when we actually reclaim these levels here. Now let's bring back the weekly. Okay, so now we know we are monthly levels. So weekly perspective, right? We've been talking about the structure with Ian, right? In terms of market structure, and this last week, is kind of the first time that we broke the structure. So we started breaking structure here last week. We broke this little structure, but this one here, we broke the structure that began on April 2025. Okay. So, and we close the week below the monthly level. Okay. So that's not strength for me. You know what I mean? So even though we had a good bounce, right? Even though we had a significant bounce, the bounce it wasn't able to actually claim above these levels here. You know what I mean? So it's still a lot of weakness in the market, in my opinion. Okay, so that's why I'm sort of staying on the fence to buying and getting positioned. So this might take a little while. Let me just delete all these thingies, all these drawings that we did. Because remember last week we did these drawings, like I was looking for this setup here, right? A bounce. If I had a bounce reclaim of these levels, I'm more than likely would have been adding for longs, right? But now we're not having it, right? That bounce wasn't strong enough, right? So let me just delete that and we'll start from different setups. Okay. So the main one here is weakness, right? So unless something amazing happens and we reclaim this from the weekly perspective, I would not be looking for any longs. We're still structurally there. Like now, I think someone asked me about if are we in a bear market or are we on a bull market? So now from the weekly, we're starting sort of the bear market. Why? Because weekly, we broke a structure. All right. Now, if we bring it to the daily, right? So on the daily, obviously this just fell down the cliff, right? But this is these setups here, right? When we have a lot of liquidations, there is also opportunities to buy. Why? Because a lot of people capitulate. Like this, a lot of selling people say, all right, you know what, I'm out. And this is kind of the time where we tend to get positioned for the next cycle. All right. So that's basically what we tracking pretty much every single day, right? Is this good time to buy, or are we going to have you know, test to these 50,000? If we break the 50,000 level, I think we cooked. Like we definitely cooked on pretty much crypto markets, right? And if we think what is the next level down, right? I'm talking about 38,000, give or take, right? If you have a look at this cluster of liquidity, more than likely it's going to be around the 38 grand. A lot of people are going to get hit, right? And that's the time to buy a lot, right? I'm still uh I'm still I'm still thinking that overall Bitcoin is going to reach the 200,000 level. However, it doesn't have to be this year. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It could be tomorrow. It could be this year. But that's kind of my long-term perspective. So what I want you to see, Todd, I would love to hear your theory, man. Type it there, man. I think we should one day I would like to have a chat with Todd, man. Yeah, good trader, man. And what's your theory, man? All right. While Todd keeps writing his theory,
I can unmute him if you want. I just need to.
I don't know if he's ready to shine, mate.
Uh, uh,
Anyway, so we
Here we
can.
go. Here we go. I've pressed the button now. You should be live, Todd.
Oh, Todd, how you going, mate?
You're muted, Todd. It sounds great.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yes,
Hey!
hey, man, how are you?
Awesome. I'm good. Thank you. So my theory is because of blockchain, thank you, BTC, the global world has accepted it and needs to catch up. But here's the thing, um, blockchain is going to be around forever, but there's way too many altcoins, right? So why not keep the cleaning crew on and shake out and get rid of all of this garbage, all the shitty alts, right? There's thousands of them. Only the strong ones will survive, right? So the price dropping is just, it just makes sense.
I completely agree, man. And the thing though is, let's the amount of tokens, right, actually launching every single day and every single week. And now you have AI launching its own tokens, agents, bots, shit like that,
Yep.
man. You had a lot of crap, and that's gonna shake a lot of stuff. Obviously, and we've been talking about in terms of liquidity, and I think I agree with what you're saying, right? I wanna take advantage of this dumps to actually get position on things that I really have fundamentals on, right? From the spot perspective. So I think those ones will survive. You know what I mean? I think DeFi will survive. Definitely. I think, Hype, all the infrastructure layer ones, but not all of the layer ones, because now you can actually launch layer two with with AI. It's so simple.
And also institutions love layer twos, right? Because they can own those outright. That's why they love That's why they love Ethereum, right? So
exactly.
Expect that to happen. Absolutely, you're totally on track there.
Yeah. So the only thing that I'm kind of aware of is obviously liquidation levels. I did talk about last week on Friday, Ethereum, right? There is a cluster, like a friend of mine showed me his dashboard. I'll see if I can actually send you guys a screenshot. But there is a cluster of liquidations seen at 1600. I think that's proprietary data that he uses. But at 1600, right, on Ethereum, there is a lot of loans that if we hit that level, a lot of people are going to get liquidated, and therefore we might experience the 1200,000 level Ethereum. That will be a really great buying opportunity. I don't think Ethereum is going to go anywhere because it's a lot of stuff on top of it, but there is a lot of liquidations waiting to happen at 1600. So that's a level that I'm watching really closely.
I also have a friend, and he also exposed that very theory to me.
Yep. I think there is a public version. I'll find it. I'll show you guys. There is an Aave protocol, and Aave protocol you can actually track all the loans, right? So Aave is basically you take loans and you can actually use that to trade the market, whatever you want to use for. But then they have loan to value ratio. What that means is if you got a loan around this level, and let's say it hits that level, the loan gets automatically paid out, right? It gets automatically liquidated. And that's going to leave a lot of people without liquidity, right? Now, the problem with that is that we could see a cascade of liquidations like the one that we had on October 11. That was fucking scary. And why? Because a lot of liquidity is going to be taken out. So if you think it from that perspective, people that actually use that kind of loans, they actually is artificial liquidity coming into this. But because what they usually do is they take the loan and rebuy Ethereum or rebuy Bitcoin with a loan. And then obviously, if Bitcoin goes your way, then you're duplicating your Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, whatever, right? But if it doesn't go your way, then you end up with no money. As simple as that, right? So that could be a potential risk that if that happens, I'll be preparing to buy. So that's kind of the mindset that I'm be preparing. So what is the worst case scenarios? And if we get those worst case scenarios, then I'll start buying the shit out of everything. However, I'll buy on the spot because it could get really, really choppy. You know what I mean? Like putting a stop loss, doing leverage plays with higher things, I think is when the market is more stable, right? And we start going to the upside, or even if we start going to the downside, I think it's good times to short with high leverage. We'll talk a little bit more, but that's in essence, man, I think that's my take so far. You know what I mean? Like weakness across the market. There is something that I want to show you guys, and it's IBIT. So IBIT was launched on last year, and IBIT is basically, a Bitcoin ETF, right? That now you can actually buy shares through IBIT. So you can track the performance here. And something that I've been tracking is that when ETFs, this is the hourly, let me just bring it to the daily, right? So if we start getting recovery from IBIT, that could be a really good indication that institutions will be buying this dip. But I'm not seeing it. You know what I mean? I don't see that reaction. Like for instance here, right? If you look at the structure of because that's kind of, if we early to figure out if institutions are buying or spot ETFs are buying, which are the ones that are controlling price of Bitcoin, then we can start getting positioned across the market in a way, right? We can start getting risk on. However, this chart looks freaking horrible. You know what I mean? Like from microstructure perspective, unless we don't have a bounce. So what I think it might happen, I could be completely wrong, but what I think it could happen is that we need to find the market that does some kind of ranging, right? And then, this will create like, when you get markets that are ranging, is basically accepting the new value of whatever it is, right? So what that happens is that you start seeing, same thing with Bitcoin, right? Same thing with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin dropped, right? And what I'm waiting is to do something like this. You know what I mean? Drop a little bit of a range, and then there's going to be liquidations back and forward, longs trying to go long, shorts trying to go short the market, and then develops the range. So if you want to trade it, or if you want to trade it, let's wait for the range to form, and then we should buy on the bottom, sell on the top until we have a breakout. That's kind of my plan. But the problem is you don't know how long the range is going to go for. You know what I mean? At least a month, I will say, in order to so that's kind of what I'm seeing at this stage, right? Can this shift tomorrow? Yes. How? If I'm start seeing a different structure, right? In terms of where is my right? If I start seeing a reclaim of this level here, 74, and then price being around this area, then I might be jumping to go longs, still targeting this area right here. You know what I mean? I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be the bottom for sure until I see a little bit more institutional buying power here. So, but yeah, that's basically staying cool until I see some price development. I don't want to buy the bottom. I don't want to guess, because this could easily test this. Easily we can do this, right? And then bounce there. Or maybe we don't bounce, right? Maybe we don't bounce. Maybe we just keep going. And what is the next level to keep going? There is this level here. Let's move into the weekly, right? And then we'll take it from the weekly perspective. So
a quick question for you, Maurizio.
Sure.
So we had this downward move, and the move just kept going and just kept going, looking for liquidity. And then it found liquidity around that kind of 60,000 mark. So this I don't know what to call it, like this the pullback up from 60, like that doesn't feel strong to me. That doesn't feel like people are like, fucking hell, Bitcoin's awesome, buy. That just feels like Bitcoin just kept going, hunting liquidity. And all right, we found some at 60, and that kind of seems obvious enough. So we've lost that 83 to 96 range now. So going forward, is it about like establishing? Because I think there's very little chance of us recapturing that 83 now. So it's about establishing like, where is this next range going to be?
So that's that. I do agree with seeing that we don't see a lot of strength here, but then you have to mix your levels with our where are you? Right here.
Open interest.
Yes, very important, man, because obviously you don't know until you see this small picture, you don't know what's going on this level. So we noticed that there was a bounce at the 60,000 level. So what I want to know is what happened there. Like, obviously I'm pretty sure it was liquidations and stop losses hit, and this is a really good, but I want to see, besides this bounce, who is driving this bounce, right? So it was actually pretty good. Like, I really like it. When I started seeing a lot of spot buying here, right? A lot of spot buying. So this is pretty good. This is pretty good, to be honest. Like, it's looking that spot is supporting that there, So if we have continuation, then we might see a little bit of creeping up all the way up to 80. right? Why? Because I see this. It doesn't look bad. But what I'm seeing lately, unfortunately, is that in New Year session, you get these massive dumps of everything. Okay. And you get massive dumps of spot. We can see it here. Like I show you several times, guys. Uh, right here. Check this out. So you have that level 74, a lot of buying, spot buying, happy days, and then all of a sudden, bang, huge nuke down of so a lot of spot sellers, right? And then market just went nuts, went down. So this spot, right, is actually very sort of short time frame until we start reclaiming trend. And what I mean by that is, how do we know that we reclaim trend? So either the safest thing is, and a lot of institutional buyers see that when they actually reclaim the daily 200, and we're very far away from it, right? So we could be ranging until this daily 200 average starts coming down, and then we start seeing the price getting closer, and then that's kind of when the trend reclaims in a way. That's one way of seeing it. So we're still really far away. There's still a lot of plays that we can do mean reversion, but it's a lot of resistance at this area. I can see a lot of and resistance. How do you know resistance? It could be a lot of shorts being open, and it could be a lot of people waiting for shorting the market again, because now we are in sort of a bearish structure. So that's to say that I'm more leaning towards shorts, like waiting for the market to pull back a little bit and then shorts. And those when the small time frame trades could look like very juicy in a way. So, but long term, I'm gonna wait until the ranges until you basically see an upside and then a downside. Then a little bit of a range, and then you start playing the range until the range breaks. And that's it. Unfortunately, you cannot force the market. You cannot actually say, oh, this is going to be, no, it's like you either go with the market or you don't, or you wait. But those are my theories until something like new happens, man. I don't know. Trump comes tomorrow and say, buying trillions of dollars of Bitcoin, and that could shift structurally speaking, and if that changes, then I'll be buying, you know what I mean? But then I want to see a really shift. So yeah, that's kind of my overall picture, guys. Like I have nothing else in terms of the majors, right? Ethereum, they all look the same, right? Exactly the same. Solana, BNB, they look exactly the same. Nothing looks strong. Everything looks weak. So, and I don't know if you guys recall, I always look at the majors when there is, a massive sort of influx of liquidity on these majors. Then we can actually start seeing alts and say, oh shit, alts are going to go, and when alts go, they go. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for to make, because institutions are not going to buy fucking Farcoin or but then people like us, we will. So, but
Yeah.
I want to see a little bit of relief in the market before I start sort of opening positions with leverage. So yeah.
I got another question for you, dude.
Yeah.
So there's been multiple occasions where I've used a word, and you've said, well, what does that actually mean, Ian? Right? So here's another word that I've been using, but I couldn't actually tell you what my specific parameters are, right? And that word is regime. I've read it somewhere or I've heard about it, and I'm now
Yeah.
suddenly I'm enamored with this regime change, regime change. But what does that actually mean, Ian? Does that mean macro regime change? Does that mean that the 15 minutes is so? What's your kind of educated take on when people
All
are
right.
throwing around regime change as a term?
So my take on this and you completely right. And this is the biggest thing. Whenever you hear something in whatever about regime, trend, or whatever, think about what that means to you, right? Now, regime, in my view, is when we change the structure. So it could be seen as a structurally, because right now we broke structure here, right? This is Solana. Let me just bring Bitcoin back. So we broke a structure here, so we changed regime. We now say that bears are in control. So any pullback, we might just get another leg down, right? Now, when we start seeing another break of structure to the upside, then we change its regime to the bulls and things like that. So that could be seen as a regime change, and same thing is the regime in monthly speaking, when weekly, daily, hourly, 15 minutes, whatever. But I think daily and weekly are the bigger picture things. You know what I mean? Like until we the problem is this dislocation is big, and I'm not seeing a lot of buying power here. In order for us to get back to it, I think we need to be above 85. Now, are we going to get there? So people are, why don't you buy? And then, because I don't know if we're going to get there. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're going to have that power until which one is going to get faced. Right now, I'm favoring the downside, to be honest. It doesn't look great. And if we look at opening CVD, it does look healthy, like from the 4-hour perspective. It does look a little bit healthy. However, this could actually be dropped at any given time. You know what I mean? Like this could be a downside. So let's talk about scalps, okay? Which I have mentioned several times. I don't know. Todd, have you been taking any of the scalps that I've mentioned, or not really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck, man,
Yeah.
man.
I totally agree with you, by the way. The 200, all of that jazz. You're right on point. I'm mind locked with you. Hive mentality, I guess, one side of the world to the other. The regime change thing, Ian, that's a great question. Could also mean it could also be seen as a turnover. We don't own the crypto market anymore. Us crypto community people that actually begged for big institutions and everything to come and please can I take over and make more money. Well, they got it now. It's theirs. So that could be seen as that too. The regime changed and they're getting dialed in. It's going to take years as well for everything to adapt and to come along. So I don't see us really, taking off until Q4 now of 26 myself, and end of if anything. So if you asked me before, I did comment. I did say Q1, Q2, but now I've got to change to Q4 if to see anything. And that lower range on ETH and BTC, you're spot on. I think it could drop to 45. I think and dance around in that lower channel before we actually see a big rise up. And I heard that months ago. I said that somebody told me 45. I'm like, you're out of your mind, but it's not too far off now.
No, it's not. It's not. However, we can actually see now that everybody's waiting 45 or 50. Maybe people will come running and start buying now. That's the thing of markets. You have no fucking clue. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And in my head, I remain bullish as well, right? So I'm constantly like, no, it's gotta. But as far as taking your scalping, this weekend I worked that lit channel like it was no other. I had it. I was locked in, and I probably made about 6G off of lit on this weekend alone. I'm still in Cato. I've got a ton of losses as well because I take so many trades scalping.
But this is Todd, that this is great because people think, and it's great to talk to another trader that people think that because you're gonna take a lot of trades, you mean you're gonna win it all. You know what I mean?
No, and absolutely not.
And fuck no, I'm glad. And that's the reality of it, right? Like the more you scalp,
it's the toughest form of trading. Put it that
Correct.
way. And for you for people to ask for a class to be taught, it can't be taught, man. It's just this is a master. It's a master level trading thing that you just can't really. I don't know. It's
It's
way
a
I
too
knife
know.
difficult.
fight, Todd.
I know,
Yeah,
man.
Hand-to-hand combat knife
it's
fight.
Yeah,
total
it
knife
is.
fight. Total
It
knife fight.
is. It is.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you're gonna get a stop, and sometimes
Oh,
you're gonna you're gonna get really good out of the
oh,
market. You know what I
you will
mean?
bleed. You
Ah,
will
Oh,
bleed.
mate,
Yeah.
and that's gonna drain you mentally, and you have
Yeah.
to watch the fucking charts. That's
Oh
and that's
yeah.
probably, so you guys understand, because I do talk about a lot of scalps, but if I start posting scalps in the group, a lot of people are going to get
Oh,
slaughtered.
you're gonna get
Why?
tore up. You're gonna get tore up on just comments alone. It's not worth it.
And
Mentally,
there,
you would get tore up. Ian would get tore up.
yep,
Mentally and physically, it's not healthy for you guys to do it. Put out a scalping thing. This is
I
for
know.
advanced only, and even then, you know, I I was swearing at the walls, a couple of days ago, at the top of
Of
my lungs, and
course.
I didn't even realize it. I was like,
And
"Who are you talking to?" But it's one second you take two steps forward and then four back, and you're like, "What am I doing wrong?" You question yourself. It's a mental game, totally. And if you're not locked in,
correct.
I live in this chair, you know,
Yeah.
10, 12, 14 hours a day, and
Yeah.
I'm just analyzing and getting metrics and checking stats and geopolitics and everything, every form of information I can get in to get an edge. It doesn't matter about indicators. I can learn these indicators inside and out. They don't help.
Yeah.
They're all lagging. It's a
Yeah.
matter of knowing what kind of fight you're getting into.
Exactly, exactly. And obviously from the mindset of 100x is we're trying to sort of extend those setups in a way, which is getting
Yeah.
really tough with those markets, by the way, guys. It's getting more difficult. So we might need to pivot a little bit and start learning a little bit of or showing you guys how to do some scalps, because there's great setups, but you need to be in front of the screen. You need to know risk management. You cannot actually risk a lot because you're going to get hammered a lot. And then sometimes you enter, you sometimes say, I'm out. Some of those decisions that you have to make, and they're very, very quick decisions that doesn't come easy for everybody. So we're
now
setting up, yeah,
this is a really interesting point. It's good that we got Todd on the microphone as well, because
yeah,
I think to bring some other things to this, first of all, it's okay to do nothing. It really is okay to
Hmm.
do nothing and not take trades, you know? You can wait until the sun starts to come out again, the
yep,
market feels a little bit better, the probability of those trades is up. So if you're just a casual trader, then it's okay to do nothing and just relax, you know? If you're hardcore like Todd, then yeah, you're in there, you know, and you make no mistake, you are working, you are losing, and these wiggly lines are laughing at you. They're picking
yeah.
on me. That's what it feels like, you know. So it is
Hmm.
okay to do nothing, and the amount
But
of learning that you'll get from
yeah,
doing nothing and just observing. But sorry, just the very last thing, and the reason
sure,
I'm
sure, sure.
excited Todd's on the microphone is because in YF10 we almost remove the decision making for you. Pick 5 from 10. And that can still be a little bit too much for people.
I know.
And if you don't think that you can manage to do that, then you people like Todd will eat you if you try and scalp. So
Yeah,
that's who you
that's
are.
true.
You're in a knife fight with Todd, and he's not
Yeah.
messing around, you know.
And
Yeah.
And
I
for
grew up
my
on the streets,
YF10
man, and I
challenge.
will bleed you. I will bleed you.
So, but then Ian mentioned something very, very important that I want to clarify, and I want to make sure that you guys there's going to be a time, like it's important not to do anything, but it's important to be aware of everything. What I mean by that is you have to stay dialing with the markets, understanding what's going on, observing, learning. Why? Because when the time comes, right, you need to fucking pull the trigger and you need to buy. And those are the times that are going to be worth all this time that we've been fucking, analyzing the market, right? But if you're not ready and you don't know how to risk manage and you don't understand how to do it, you're not going to do anything. You know what I mean? You're still gonna be in a different mindset. So I strongly suggest just keep coming to, sometimes we don't do anything, but we talk about the structure, why we don't do anything. It's more important to know why we don't do anything than doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's kind of very, very important, because when the time comes, man, the opportunity will come. When? I don't know. No one can tell you. Unfortunately, I can't tell you, oh, it's going to come tomorrow. It's with the bottom is in. I don't know yet, right? But we can see, we might start seeing early signs, and that's when we start doing the risk. We're going to put some trades. We're going to get stopped out, right? That's part of the game. And then ideally, we're going to come out at the other end with a good amount of profit, you know? I used to have, I do have a friend of mine. He only trades like when he has the big setups, he goes big and 3 or 4 times a year, and that's all he does. But he's every single day looking at the market, every single
Now,
day.
now,
So
could you imagine that, right? It sounds easy, doesn't it? But could you imagine having the patience to sit and watch and only take maybe 4 trades a year when all around you is busy,
I
noise,
know,
noise,
yeah,
noise,
noise.
everything's broken, we're off to the moon,
Hmm.
you
I,
know?
I know a guy
That's a
like that.
real
He lives up the
discipline.
street. He
Mm.
lives up the street. He takes a few trades a year. He's a
Hmm.
multi-millionaire, and he's
Hmm.
totally a He has like a few wives, ex-wives. Um, he has a money tree growing in his living room. It's like I don't get it, and I'm like, dude. I try to pick his brain, and he
Yep.
just like has this Cheshire cat shit-eating grin on his face every time, and he won't cough up the info that I want. But this
Yeah.
guy, like, he created most of this financial institution through. He was working for Morgan Stanley for years, and they
Hmm.
flew him around the world globally.
Mm.
And I'm like, how do you? And he's like, he won't even tell his son. So I was like, I don't stand a chance. But there's people like that, and then there's
Yeah.
people that I love this shit. I'm like Mauricio.
Yep.
I sit here and my hands, my palms are sweaty when I'm scalping a channel. Like I'm locked into a channel, and like he just said, you have to be Johnny on the spot. Hit that button,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't have a middleman. You can't be, let the exchange do the work for you. You got to look at it. You got to watch it. If it
Yeah.
starts, I feel as though it's just me and the moneymaker in there, and he sees me, and if I
Yeah.
give him, if I give him any sort of room, he's going to knock me out.
Yep.
So
It is. It
it's
feels like that, man. But it's fun. Like this is a game that either you love it or not. But I will strongly suggest that not for you, Todd, for people out there, that if you, because we trade the daily, and we trade the higher time frames, and obviously those setups don't come easy. But um, uh, that's something to just keep learning in terms of how the market moves. So it's very important to understand, watch it a little bit, watch the small time frames, because small time frames give you a story, gives you a story of how it's going to develop on the daily. And yeah, taking it small and taking it easy.
yeah, yeah. That setup you got there on the Velo.
Oh man, let's
What?
talk about let's talk about that, because I have talked about those setups, man. And if you guys are watching this, and why I did explain a while back why 30 minutes and why 4 hours and all sort of stuff, but I usually take it on 30 minutes, right? But it usually happens in the Euro sessions when it is more liquid, right? And let's talk about that, because Ian want to know high leverage, small time frames, or small leverage, let it run. Okay, let's go through those two systems or strategies, call it that way. Okay, so the best system or the best setup that I can, if I see it, I'll go big on it. Right? Is, first of all, you guys see that the open interest starts going up, right? Open interest going up, going up, going up as the market starts going down. What does that mean? That means that a lot of shorts are being opened, right? The shorts are winning, the bears are winning. On top of that, if you do have the CVD volume coming down, fuck, that market is gonna go down. As simple as that,
Yeah.
right? For how long? I have no fucking clue. So let's talk about a little bit of risk management. So if you start seeing that, let's say around here, right, around this area, right, that's starting to happen, and you start seeing this every 30 minutes. By the way, you basically sitting in front of a fucking computer for at least 3 or 4 hours in order for you to actually develop this setup, right? So essentially, the easiest setup is you take your entry, right, and take your stop loss either around here, right? And if you have the and if you is the my Fibonacci right here. So the Fib tool, we taught this on right. So this is a setup, right? So if you risk $500 or $100, whatever, from here to here, right? Then your first target is actually another 500, and your second target will be 1,000. So if you play this straight over and over again, you're gonna make twice of what you risk. Okay. So if you risk 100, you're gonna make 200. Now, this trade actually gave you much more. You know what I mean? Like, but then obviously you can actually see that on hindsight. Oh, I would have left it, but you don't know if that's gonna bounce there or where is it gonna bounce. So the interesting thing is this setup on top of a little bit of small liquidations, that means a lot of cascading events. That's when you could see you can start moving your stop loss or take some profits here, right? Take half of it, move the stop loss, and start bringing your stop loss down, and then so it happens. If you know, so that's one way of doing it. But you have to be in front of the screen, technically, right? Watching this trade and managing it. Okay, so it takes a lot of bandwidth on your mental brain. However, with one trade, and these trades happen, I will say once a week, man. You can actually have these trades on. I'm pretty sure once a week you get these kind of scalps going. Now, Ian, if you
Yep.
take this trade and then obviously you do 2 or 3 hour, right?
Mhm.
Then that's your week, you know, that you can make your money on a week. Now, if we go low leverage, right? Let's say low leverage, what it means is you either place your stop at much more higher, right?
Mhm.
Or you go with half of the regular risk that you usually do, right? And then the problem with that is that you need to either look at higher time frames in order to see the structure, or you need to sort of be aware that at some point things are going to bounce, especially with shorts, right? And the problem as well of long-term stuff, like I never look at funding rates when I do these short-term things. Why? Because I don't care about, I do care, but in terms of the strategy or long-term, but if you place a short, right, and your funding rates start shifting and you're gonna hold the short for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or a month, you have to be aware that if your funding rates shift, then you're gonna start paying to hold your trade.
Yes.
Okay. So on top of the low leverage, and then waiting for that to go to zero or whatever, it might not be worth it. That's why I don't do it. You know what I mean? I don't. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of it. But if you have stuff like Cato, Cato is great, right? Cato, yeah.
That was a brilliant brilliant masterclass, by the way. That was needed to be said. That was funding rate is super important.
Correct, and a lot of people don't take it into account. Same thing with longs, right? Unfortunately, with scalping and or holding longs on perpetual futures, same deal. If you place a long, let's say Cato, right? And we think, I'm not saying that this is going to go up, but I'm saying like, oh, this is going to go to the moon. And maybe a stop here, and then this takes a year. But then funding rates change, and I end up paying much more funding rates than I'm actually doing the scalping. You know what I mean? So it's a tough game to hold stuff long term in perps. You know what I mean? So
and you're wondering why you're losing money.
Exactly. So obviously that's why I'd rather, spend a little bit of time in the charts, having those small setups that trigger daily or weekly. And then if they do, I take my trade. If I lose, so be it, right? If I win, make money, but then I don't have those overall risks. On top of that, this is the financial risk. On top of that, you have the mental bandwidth risk, okay? And the mental bandwidth, I think, is more expensive. Why? Because if you hold a short long term, your brain is thinking short-term bias. That's what you think. Whatever you hold is what your brain is thinking, oh, fuck, this is going to go to sleep, because you're holding it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be holding that position. You know what I'm saying? If the market shifts, you will not see it. You will not see those shifts if your brain bandwidth is actually locked in on a specific trade. So that's why I love scalping. I try not to have any positions for longer than 1 month. Sorry, 1 month, 1 day. You know what I mean? Not even like a session. And then I have clarity next session to see what's going on. Otherwise, your mental bandwidth, that I think is much more expensive to hold, right? So that's why it's really tough to trade different strategies, right? And that's why, when I do a lot of long-term stuff, I do it in spot, and I keep buying spot. And then I tend to manage a little bit the perpetual side of things. So I hope that makes sense.
That was interesting.
Absolutely. Always good to have a spot bag as well for backup, right? If you're especially if you're like a spot on BTC or ETH or Sol or something like that, and then if you're going to leverage those, you have that as backup, right? So
exactly, and I keep buying. Bitcoin.
Keep buying, yeah.
Honestly, I have a portfolio completely automated that I keep buying every week, a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, and that's been my most successful portfolio in the last 5 years. You know what I mean? It's going to be honestly, if I just love trading too much, but if I analyze performances, it's not that far away. You know what I mean? From my performance of trading, but then when I hit good performance in some trading, I can do 20x one account. Definitely, that's possible when the market is there for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and understanding when to just play the game, I think is really good skill to have.
Yeah, I just shorted BTC, by the way.
let's have a look, man. Let's have a look on why you shorted BTC. All right.
And Dr. T, just to answer, yeah, it is a dopamine run. Absolutely.
Oh man,
no more. I just doing coffee, but no more. It used to be cocaine and coffee. Now it's just.
All right. I now I get you. Now I know why you fucking scalping all the time, man. Now I know.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. So yeah, that doesn't look bad. Obviously, if and on which time frame you took?
I'm on the 5 minute.
Oh, yeah. 5 minutes. Right,
I'm on the 5 and 1 right now, and I'm also shorting it because coming into the New York session, I feel as though it's going to drop at least 0.5 or something like that. Now I will probably trade BTC inside the candle, and maybe even inside the wick. So
got it.
That's how. Okay. That's how you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you do hardcore scalping, man. No, that's cool. That's cool. Like obviously. Probably we can do a session.
I'm not on 40x, but I am on 15.
Okay. I
feel like I'm being hunted if I'm on 40.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
This is a very good advice for anybody out there thinking, oh yeah, I'm just going to 40x this, and I'll because I think it's going. No, you're actually being hunted by market makers when you put on a large leverage trade. They can see you.
Yep. And that's when you see, the best strategy, in my opinion, is when you start seeing a lot of liquidations coming through.
Yes.
That's when you should start doing high leverage. If you do scalping, this is a scalping. This is a scalping. If you do scalping, right? Like, for instance, you have liquidations here to the upside, bang, right? Huge liquidations. That would be a really interesting short. And if you're scalping, I would be already taking some profit right now. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of so Yeah, no, really cool, man. Really cool chatting with you. Always appreciate your comments and
Yeah,
things, man. So great call, man. Great. Thank you for
yeah, yeah.
coming live today, man.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite coach. I do belong to like 12 other forums that I pay monthly fees for years, and this is by far my favorite. Just because I love your analytics and your metrics and what you bring to the game. It's
Awesome,
fresh.
man.
It's good
Thank you very
perspective.
much, man.
Good
Appreciate
perspective.
it. Appreciate it,
Thanks
man.
for having me on, Ian. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was really great, man. Maybe we can do this again. Maybe we should make it like a sort of trader of the week thing, And if there's somebody
There
else
we
that
go.
wants to hop on
Yeah.
and share a few things, we could,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know I was quiet for the last few days in YF10, but I really had to lock in and get my bags back up. I was kind of bleeding out because I was being distracted by other things happening in my life, and you can't trade like that. You really can't,
I know.
especially
Yeah.
scalping. So, and you
Yeah.
with a baby, I mean, I don't know how you do it. You got a headphone, you got to have
Cocaine.
Bose noise limiting. Cocaine helps. Cocaine helps.
I never tried it, to be honest. I cannot
No,
actually relate to it, but I haven't tried it. I wanted
I,
to
I,
at some point, to
I
be honest,
do.
in the
I'm just
last
kidding.
couple of
I'm just
months.
kidding. It doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Uh,
Coffee.
yeah,
Yeah.
coffee.
Awesome.
It is the thing, man. All right, guys. So good
All right.
call. We'll see how it happens in the next couple of hours, and then yeah, let's see if we can get some trades in.
Nice. Cheerio, everyone.
All right, guys. Have a good
Cheers.
one.